In a remote corner of the bustling kingdom of Ahimora, there stood a small, unassuming market that most travelers overlooked. Surrounded by golden fields of wheat and dotted with ancient oak trees, it was a place of modest trade and humble ambitions. Yet, for those who ventured inside, the market held whispers of hidden treasures and stories of prosperous merchants who had once called it home. These rumors stirred the curiosity of Amir, a young trader with big dreams and a restless spirit. Though he possessed little more than a backpack of spices and a small pouch of coins, Amir believed that opportunity might sprout in the most unexpected places. His past mentors had often insisted that not all fortunes were to be found in grand city squares. Intrigued by such possibilities, Amir decided that this lesser-known marketplace could hold the key to a new and profitable venture. With a determined light in his eyes, he stepped off the well-trodden road, prepared to test his resilience, wit, and entrepreneurial instincts in a setting most would deem unremarkable. As Amir wandered among the market stalls, he soon noticed the conspicuous absence of anything overtly extravagant. Vibrant booths displayed practical goods, freshly harvested vegetables, hand-woven baskets, and pungent herbs carefully tied in bundles. Though the items lacked the dazzling allure of silk or precious stones, they exuded a certain quiet quality. Merchants beckoned to Amir with tempting offers, but his mind was set on discovering something truly unique, a potential gem hidden in the mundane. Amid the lively trading and gentle hum of negotiations, one stall grabbed his attention by its sheer simplicity. A weathered sign reading "Seeds of Fortune" hung above a nearly barren table. Seated behind it was an aged merchant, his posture upright despite sun-worn features and tired eyes. Something about his calm demeanor drew Amir closer, and he found himself asking about the contents of a small, unremarkable pouch. The old man's gaze flickered with an almost imperceptible excitement, as though the seeds he guarded carried secrets of prosperity. Intrigued, Amir decided to learn more, sensing a subtle promise of hidden opportunity. The elderly merchant introduced himself as Farid, a seasoned cultivator who claimed that every seed in his possession belonged to a rare lineage, painstakingly bred over generations for hardiness and flavor. Though skeptical, Amir couldn't help but be drawn in by Farid's soft-spoken confidence. He had, after all, ventured to this overlooked market seeking precisely such an unexpected find, something that might disrupt the local trade and spark new demand. At first glance, the pouch looked ordinary, its contents much like any other seeds. But as Farid described their origin, resilience, and untapped potential, Amir began to picture the possibilities. He imagined fields of a novel crop, rumored to be nearly immune to the region's harsh conditions, offering a harvest that could captivate buyers. Seizing the moment, Amir carefully negotiated a deal, exchanging a small portion of his funds. For a handful of these mysterious seeds, Farid's eyes shone with approval, as if pleased that Amir was bold enough to invest in something so deceptively simple, yet brimming with unrealized promise. Nurturing the seeds proved more challenging than Amir initially envisioned. Farid had instructed him to seek an environment with rich soil, moderate moisture, and protection from relentless winds. With no farmland of his own, Amir set out to survey the surrounding villages. Consulting experienced farmers, herbalists, and even wandering healers who knew the land intimately. Eventually, he found a forgotten riverside plot, partially shielded by tall reeds and old willow trees. With painstaking care, he tilled the earth, removing stones and debris to create a fertile bed for the fragile seeds. Following Farid's advice, he watered them precisely, neither oversoaking nor letting the soil run dry. Each task, checking for pests, adjusting the soil pH, and researching the optimal growing techniques, a testament to his dedication. When the first tender sprouts pushed through the ground, Amir felt a surge of hope. Yet even as he celebrated these humble green shoots, he recognized that his journey had just begun. A single act of planting might start the process, but true success would require patience, resourcefulness, perseverance. Before long, curious whispers began spreading through the region. Rumor had it that an unfamiliar traveler was planting peculiar seeds with uncertain origins. Local farmers, wary of gimmicks and protective of their long-standing methods, questioned whether such a venture could truly flourish. Some dismissed Amir's efforts as a young man's folly, while others chose to observe from a distance. Undeterred, Amir kept his focus on transforming these diminutive seeds into a meaningful harvest. He extended small samples to a handful of forward-thinking farmers, asking them to try the seeds on a test plot. While many declined, preferring to stick to their conventional crops, a brave few accepted. Their results, though preliminary, offered a glimmer of promise. Green shoots popped up quickly, appearing robust in the face of sporadic rainfall and shifting temperatures. Buoyed by this modest success, Amir sensed an opportunity to build bridges. He reasoned that if he could earn the trust of these early adopters, the seeds might someday become a cornerstone of the local agricultural scene, altering both his destiny and theirs. Realizing that even the most extraordinary product requires a compelling story, Amir began to outline a marketing plan. Without established credibility, he knew that anecdotes of remarkable origins and guaranteed resilience would only get him so far. So, he decided to demonstrate the seed's potential directly. As the crops began to sprout more visibly, he prepared small samples, tender leaves that could be used in soups or salads, and early fruits that hinted at their eventual flavor. Touring nearby markets, he invited people, townsfolk, and traveling merchants to taste these samples. Conversations became lively whenever he mentioned the seeds, unique lineage, and the careful process of breeding for tolerance against pests and poor weather. Little by little, Amir's story spread, stoking interest among those who craved something different. Whether they were eager to stand out in their own businesses or simply intrigued by the unusual crop, listeners started asking when they could purchase more. Though nowhere near a household name, Amir's budding reputation signaled that the seeds and the vision behind them were beginning to take root. Eager to expand beyond local chatter, Amir pursued strategic partnerships. He approached a group of itinerant entertainers, proposing a symbiotic arrangement. If they showcased his curious produce during their cooking demonstrations, he would share a percentage of his future profits. Recognizing a chance to offer something novel, these performers agreed. Similarly, he reached out to small-scale traders who specialized in connecting remote villages with new goods, promising them first access to his upcoming harvest. In each collaboration, Amir emphasized consistency and quality. He meticulously experimented with fertilizers and irrigation schedules, ensuring his crops maintained the same lush vigor he'd observed in the test plots. Despite limited capital, he leveraged every resource he had, from local connections to his own tireless effort to ensure that each seed grew to its fullest potential. Gradually, the skeptical farmers began to view him more as an industrious ally than a naive outsider. Some even asked him for advice on optimizing their own fields, a subtle acknowledgement that Amir's seeds and his methods might carry genuine merit for the broader community. As the months slipped by, the plants in Amir's field flourished into a spectacular sea of green, their leaves wide and healthy under the midday sun. What began as a collection of innocuous seeds now stood as proof that Farid's lineage was indeed special. Word reached Amir's earliest collaborators that their experimental plots were similarly thriving. Encouraged, Amir sought to refine his distribution strategy. He invested in storage facilities to preserve the crop's freshness and orchestrated a much-anticipated unveiling in the region's largest marketplace. Local leaders, curious townspeople, and traveling merchants were all invited. With the harvest season imminent, Amir's excitement was tempered by responsibility. It promised quality, flavor, and innovation, and he feared the slightest misstep could unravel his budding reputation. Yet as he walked through the rows of healthy plants, he felt a cautious optimism. The final outcome remained unknown, but he had come to Farid believed to prevent Lido turn back. In the shimmering green of the field, he saw not just produce, but the embodiment of possibility realized through risk and resolve. Asterisk, at long last, harvest day arrived. Rising before dawn, Amir carefully harvested each fruit, inspecting them for uniformity and vibrancy. The yield, substantial and surprisingly consistent, filled him with cautious pride. Soon, wagons began rolling into his makeshift farm, driven by partners eager to transport the new produce. Children chased alongside the carts in anticipation of seeing something exotic, while more seasoned traders debated how best to price this novelty. Amir's adrenaline surged as he oversaw the loading, aware that everything he had worked toward hinged on how the public received his product. If the taste and quality failed to impress, the seed's storied history would mean little. But if it lived up to the whispered hype, he stood on the brink of a remarkable breakthrough. As the sun climbed higher, the wagons set off for the main square, carrying not just fresh crops, but the culmination of Amir's risk-taking and planning. Despite the noise and bustle, Amir paused to reflect on the journey from obscure market stall to this pivotal moment of truth. Asterisk, the unveiling in the town's bustling center drew an eclectic crowd. Merchants, nobles, villagers, and curious bystanders gathered around stalls brimming with the new produce. Eager to witness the miracle crop, they sampled bite-sized portions, discovering a flavor unlike anything grown in the region. It was at once sweet and slightly spicy, an enticing combination that lent itself to both time-honored recipes and more creative culinary experiments. Gasps, smiles, and excited murmurs spread like a ripple through the crowd. Some people immediately placed orders, while others jockeyed for distribution rights. Even a few of the staunchest skeptics farmers who had once dismissed Amir's endeavor found themselves captivated by the crop's robust taste and apparent resilience. Observing the enthusiastic reception, Amir felt a flood of relief. This was the moment he had visualized, the reason he had gambled his limited coin on a small pouch of mysterious seeds. Yet beneath his growing sense of triumph, Amir remained grounded. He recognized that the seed's success was no accident. It was rooted in careful planning, perseverance, and the humble willingness to venture into the unknown. Asterisk, in the weeks that followed, Amir's life changed beyond recognition. He received invitations to showcase his crop at distant trade fairs, and wealthy patrons sought his advice on agricultural innovation. Although the coins now flowed freely, Amir remembered the foundational lessons he had gleaned from Farid and from those first courageous farmers who risked sowing the untested seeds. Wishing to honor their support, he reinvested much of his profits into the community. He funded irrigation channels that improved water access for neighboring villages and hired local workers to cultivate newly acquired farmland. This generous spirit earned him allies, and people who once viewed him with suspicion came to see him as a visionary partner. While many ascribed his windfall to luck, Amir recognized that his success was the natural outcome of relentless research, bold risk-taking. In collaboration, he had not merely sold a product, it nurtured a shared vision for what could be possible. From a pouch of nondescript seeds, he had grown an enterprise and a reputation that reached far beyond the borders of that modest village market. Asterisk. Amir's journey reflects a timeless business principle. Often the greatest opportunities are hidden in the unlikeliest of places. By daring to invest in a product that others overlooked, he discovered how innovation can flourish when guided by diligence, patience, and an openness to strategic partnerships. His tale illustrates that even the most extraordinary concept needs a strong foundation: meticulous planning, a compelling narrative, and a trust-building approach that involves communities rather than bypassing them. No entrepreneur operates in a vacuum. Collaborating with local farmers, traveling performers, and resourceful merchants, Amir transformed a solitary endeavor into a communal triumph. Ultimately, the tiny seeds are a fitting metaphor. Each one embodies potential far exceeding its humble appearance. It's dependent on careful nurturing and the right environment to thrive. Likewise, every fledgling business idea can become a transformative force if matched with resilience, mutual support, and a willingness to adapt. In the end, Amir harvested more than a bountiful crop. He reaped the enduring fruits of tenacity, creativity, and genuine engagement and entrepreneurial spirit that promises growth wherever it takes root.